All right, so that is a look at your forecast. Again, as I mentioned, we are keeping an eye on the track of Hurricane Melissa. So here is the latest from NBC News. So Hurricane Melissa made landfall in Cuba this morning as an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Remember, it landed in Jamaica as a Category 5. As of 11 a.m., the Category 2 storm moved off of Cuba and is now in the Atlantic Ocean headed toward the Bahamas. So that was as of 11 a.m. And I'm reading this from NBC News. Again, as I mentioned, it hit Jamaica and made landfall as a Category 5 around 1 p.m. Yesterday. We were tracking it. We actually showed you live pictures yesterday here on Live Impact News as it was making landfall. And we've actually talked to folks here in our community with family and friends over in Jamaica, and also a young woman earlier this week we spoke with before Melissa made landfall. Our Walker Lawson checked back in with her today, about 24 hours after Hurricane Melissa made landfall. She's a young woman with connections to the Carolinas. So let's check in on how she's doing and how our conditions are there. Again, this is Walker Lawson with this full interview.
All right, so we are recording. So obviously, Victoria, you are in Kingston, Jamaica right now. Talk to me a little bit about what the last 24, 48 hours have been like for you guys.
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, it's been pretty devastating. We were hunkering down for this hurricane and we were expecting it to hit pretty hard, and it hit even harder than we thought. It came as a Category 5, but wind gusts were up to 250 miles per hour, and we had widespread devastation in the western side of the island. So the hardest hit parts of the island were Black River, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, and Montego Bay. And Montego Bay is our second largest city. That's the commercial hub. That's where tourists fly in. And it's a major city. And so, this morning when people woke up, they went out, they saw the devastation. You're starting to see people clear paths. Trees have fallen in people's yards and fences have been torn down. And it's hard because on the western side of the island, these communities were still rebuilding from Hurricane Beryl last year. So they were still in that rebuilding mode, and many people hadn't even been able to get their houses back up and running, and then to get hit again is just absolutely heartbreaking. And even here in Kingston, we're seeing many businesses remain closed, and that's going to continue to happen island wide because people can't get to work. There's devastation at home, destruction at home. They're not able to even get on the roads, and right now 70% of the island is still without power. So the crews are awaiting the government clearance to start repairs because it's not safe yet to go out and start working on our lines. Our lines are above grounds and trees have fallen, so have the lines. And no power grid on this side of the world is built for a Category 5 strength hurricane. And so our local power company called JPS, they pre-positioned over 50 linemen. They brought in these guys from all over, especially here in North America, and they brought in this crew with equipment because they're fully trained and prepared for disaster zones such as what is here right now. And I think for the most part, here in Jamaica, we are just really trying to figure out how are we going to rebuild. So when we talk about relief and response, we have Food for the Poor. They're flying in tomorrow, and they're bringing in supplies and relief teams. And then we also have been working with American Friends. America Friends of Jamaica. They launched a $1 million relief fund, and they have been supporting Jamaica for over 40 years. So these are organizations that have seen Jamaica before, and they will see us through this hard time. And the focus right now is rapid damage assessment, especially safe damage assessment, on the western side of the island.
Something that you spoke about before we started recording that I thought was super interesting was you spoke to the western part of the island being predominantly farmers. Could you speak a little bit to that and what this means for Jamaica?
Yeah, so on the western side of the island, especially in St. Elizabeth, that's where we have a lot of those agricultural farms. And so it's gonna be hard when it comes to the food supply concerns. Those farms have pretty much been wiped out. There was a lot of flooding, flash flooding. That's where the eye of the hurricane just ran through the island. And so here in Kingston at the supermarket, we might not be seeing fruits and vegetables for a while. And if we do, they're going to be astronomical pricing, and they might be imported from the US or other islands as well. And that's just going to be something that we're going to have to face anywhere in the island for the next few weeks.
Um, Obviously, you and I've been kind of talking when you have electricity and when you have the ability to speak with us. What has it been like for you and your family? What have you guys seen? How long have you been without power? What have been some mechanisms that you guys have taken to try to navigate this time frame?
Yeah, right now I'm at my uncle's house because he has power. He has solar panels, so he has power. But at my home, we've been without power since 6 a.m. yesterday morning. So we're now into that over 24 hours without power. And this is something that we are used to. When there is a major hurricane coming, again, because our power lines are above ground, the local power service, they cut off power because they don't want anyone getting electrocuted, obviously. And it's a safety precaution. And with the winds that were just so strong, they had no choice but to turn off the power. So in preparation, when you live on the island, you have to be resourceful. We have a gas stove, so we ate the food that had to be refrigerated first, and we're just powering through. I mean, we boarded up our windows, and the wind actually blew the boards off of our windows, which was shocking. But also, again, we didn't even get the eye of the hurricane, so I cannot even imagine what the people on the western side of the island were experiencing.
Yeah, we obviously Kingston saw around tropical storm force winds. I'm sure some areas gusted into hurricane force. But on the western side of the island, obviously you and I had also kind of talked, there were some AI images out there circulating. But now that you're kind of seeing videos and images maybe from friends or that are on social media, what is your emotion and how shocking is it to kind of see some of the damage that you've seen thus far?
It's it's really heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. We are very proud people. We love our country. If you meet anyone from Jamaica, the first thing you're going to know is that we are Jamaican because there is that pride so deep in our heart. And when one community hurts, we all hurt. So obviously there are AI images going around on social media, but for the most part, what I'm seeing on my social media, and I'm looking at local news outlets and verified videos, it is complete destruction, and it is very upsetting to see. And I think it's just one of those things where you just have to pray. You have to pray because, like, these people have pretty much lost everything. And for the ones who haven't lost everything, they've lost almost everything. So it's really hard to see it. And my thoughts and prayers are out to them. And as soon as people are able to volunteer, because we're still waiting for the safety call, I'm going to be one of those people going out there and volunteering with the cleanup and the relief and just helping to rebuild.
How is your friends doing? Other family members? Are majority of them on the eastern part of the island, or do you have some on the western part, or have you even been able to get in contact with some of these people?
Yeah, majority of my friends are on the eastern side of the island, but we have very close acquaintances on the western side of the island. And I think one of the biggest concerns is the hospitals. There has been massive, major and massive damage to 4 hospitals, rural hospitals. So just the word rural alone, I know you guys know about that in North Carolina. Rural healthcare is super important. And the fact that we're seeing hospitals who had roofs blown off and major damage to the building, and some hospitals, they had people there. I mean, this is something that is very concerning. And my close family and friends are on this side of the island, but I can't even imagine what that's like to know, hey, I'm injured in a hurricane and now I can't even go to the hospital because there's no roof on the hospital. So that's what is going on over there.
Anything else that you would like to say that I didn't ask you or that you would like to get out to the public?
Yeah, I just really want to call to the public for your support. I mean, obviously, monetary is welcomed, and corporate donations such as food, goods, and essentials. We are urgently needing them here, but also your prayers. If you're not able to give financially, please pray for us. Please keep us in your thoughts. This is, again, one of the strongest, most destructive hurricanes in Jamaican history. We have a saying in Jamaica, and it's we're little but Watalawa. That means we're tiny, but we are resilient, and we're going to get through it. But The recovery is going to be long and difficult, and your help is going to be welcomed and your assistance as well.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and stop recording.
All right, so that is an update from that young woman with connections to the Carolinas who now lives in Jamaica again. Folks there are cleaning up following Hurricane Melissa making landfall there yesterday afternoon.